What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. As always, thank you for tuning in. And I actually found this pretty interesting. So did you know the longest filibuster in congressional history was a Democrat? That's right. And you know what the crazy thing is that Democrat was filibustering the civil rights movement. So the longest filibuster in U.S. Senate history was held by Senator Strom Thurmond of South Carolina. On August 28, 1957, Thurmond spoke for 24 hours and 18 minutes in an attempt to block the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1957. Despite his efforts, the bill eventually passed. So Thurmond's filibuster remains the record for the longest continuous speech in Senate history. He prepared extensively, including the dehydrating himself to minimize bathroom breaks and read from various sources, including the U.S. Constitution and even recipes to keep speaking. That's crazy. Speaking for 24 hours? That is wild. But anyways, the reason why I was reading about that is Kamala Harris wants to end the filibuster. That's right. That's one of the things that she wants to do and will do if they get power in Congress. If these people get the White House, the Senate, and the House, they will end the filibuster, which will completely destroy our process for passing laws and bills, and they will stack the Supreme Court. That's something else that they want to do. We have all kinds of stuff to get into, but I actually wanted to get into this. So this is a breaking story that just dropped. Let me get this up for you guys. So Doug Emhoff assault allegations, what we know and what we don't. You know, I got to be honest, folks, there's a lot we don't know about Kamala Harris. There's some freaky stuff going on with her. Candace Owens is getting to the bottom of that with who she says is her grandma actually died before she was born, but yet she's calling her grandma when actually she's really her great-grandma. That stuff is getting weird. She's getting to the bottom of that. That gets really complex. But if you think about it, we don't really know who these people are. Like Tim Walz, we've never seen Tim Walz. We don't even know who he is. Who are these people's families? I'm telling you right now, Tim Walz is a weird dude. And that's exactly why they came out with that projection of calling J.D. Vance weird, is because they knew people were going to call Tim Walz weird. He's a weird dude. There's no doubt about it. So like I said, we don't know anything about these people. But this is crazy. Doug Emhoff assault allegations. So Vice President Kamala Harris' husband, Doug Emhoff, has been accused of slapping a former girlfriend more than a decade ago, according to a DailyMail.com report. So the second gentleman allegedly struck the woman in the face while waiting in a valet line after an event during the Cannes Film Festival in France in May 2012. 3 unnamed friends told the outlet. If this was Donald Trump, if you had changed the name from Doug Emhoff to Donald Trump, this would be on every single outlet being reported on 24/7. If Donald Trump or one of his kids were to slap an ex-girlfriend, that crap would be all over the place. But now you barely hear about it. But this is actually kind of weird. So the woman had been dating Emhoff for about 3 months at the same time of the alleged assault, the outlet reported, after connecting on dating site Match.com. DailyMail.com did not name the woman, instead using the pseudonym Jane and describing her as only a successful New York attorney. However, a video from the event shows a woman in a red dress with Emhoff, and screen grabs were posted on social media by Sean Davis, the CEO and co-founder of The Federalist, a conservative online magazine. The friends who spoke to the outlet were also not named, with which DailyMail.com said was because they feared retaliation. Of course. You're talking about these politicians are extremely powerful, man. I wouldn't want to come out. I mean, I would, but think about being somebody that witnessed this, and you're going to come out against somebody that's running for the president of the United States. You don't think that would be a little bit intimidating? So the report came as Emhoff, an entertainment lawyer, has been hitting the campaign trail in support of Harris. If she wins the presidency in November, he would be the nation's first gentleman, which isn't going to happen. These folks, do you really think that this lady right here can run the country? Nobody actually believes that. And frankly, it's quite terrifying to me, to be honest, to know that this cackling hyena would be in charge of our military. I mean, is that not terrifying to people? We're on the brink of World War III and she's going to be the commander-in-chief? I don't think so. I just don't think so, man. The alleged assault said the two have occurred more than a year before Harris and Emhoff met on a blind date set up by the mutual friend in 2013. They married in 2014. It was not clear if the alleged assault was reported to authorities. The friend said Jane had provided details in later conversations. You know what's crazy is it's still more evidence than the E. Jean Carroll case. The E. Jean Carroll case had literally no physical evidence. All they had was E. Jean Carroll's testimony and a couple of her friends coming up and saying that she told them about it. It's crazy. So I actually looked this up. So in the civil sexual abuse case brought by E. Jean Carroll against Donald Trump, the evidence largely included her testimony, corroborating witnesses, and some physical documentation. But here's the evidence they actually had. So E. Jean Carroll's testimony. The cornerstone of the case was Carroll's own account. She was alleged that Trump sexually assaulted her in a Bergdorf Goodman department store dressing room in the mid-1990s. Her detailed narrative of the event was presented in court. Mind you, this is a detailed event that is weirdly identical to a Law and Order episode. Listen, man, and obviously we all seen E. Jean Carroll on the news. She's obviously a weird woman, obviously not all there in the head, but somehow she was able to get this. Two women, Lisa Birnbach and Carol Martin, testified that Carroll had told them about the assault shortly after it allegedly happened, that this testimony helped her to bolster Carroll's credibility by showing she spoke of the incident at the time, even if she did not report it to authorities. Well, how do we know that the two so-called witnesses weren't just told by E. Jean Carroll, hey, say that I told you right after it happened? This is why you're supposed to have, like, physical evidence, you know, like an eyewitness or some video footage or even some audio. None of that in the E. Jean Carroll case. So why isn't Doug Emhoff being prosecuted? Why isn't there a civil sexual abuse case brought up against Emhoff? I don't know. Maybe there should be. So in the E. Jean Carroll case, you had Trump's deposition, you had Trump's public comments, and there was no physical evidence. Since the alleged assault happened decades ago, there was no physical or forensic evidence presented. The case largely relied on witness testimony and Carroll's consistent recounting of the event. Even though one of the issues, she said she was wearing a dress, but that dress didn't actually exist at the time. That's not an issue to anybody. Like, this is what worries me about the entire Donald Trump is a felon thing. Is that years from now, maybe 2 years, 3 years after the election, you know what's going to end up happening? He's going to end up being vindicated on all of these cases. So in other words, they would have used the justice system in order to give Donald Trump the name convicted felon. Then after the election, they'll be like, oh, we were wrong. No, he isn't actually a felon. We just, we got these cases wrong. And just for the lefties listening, the jury found Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation, not rape, which is what a lot of people out there, a lot of lefties and Democrats are saying Donald Trump is a rapist. That's actually not true. It's factually incorrect. There's more evidence in this case against Doug Emhoff than there ever was in the E. Jean Carroll case. So why no prosecution of Doug Emhoff? It's kind of weird, huh? So one friend told the Daily Mail that Jane had called him sobbing shortly after the alleged assault occurred. Quote, I don't know whether to call the French police. I couldn't get a hold of her after calling back. It was not clear if the alleged assault was reported to authorities. So I guess supposedly she went up to one of the valet guys, offered him 100 euros or whatever to get to the head of the line. She told me she put her hand on his shoulder. Doug apparently thought that she was flirting and came over and slapped her in the face. And then she slapped him back. The friend said Jane had told him she ended her relationship with Emhoff that night. The second friend, which would be a corroborating witness according to E. Jean Carroll's case, the second friend and a female attorney told the DailyMail.com that Jane had also told her about the alleged assault. She was completely caught off guard. He hauled up and slapped her so hard she spun around. She said she was in utter shock. She was so furious she slapped him on one side and then on the other cheek with the other hand. Damn, doing the old two-piece combo. The third friend said Jane first told her in 2014 that she had dated Emhoff and detailed the alleged assault in 2018 when Harris, then a senator, was making headlines about her questioning of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh over allegations of sexual misconduct during his confirmation hearing. The allegations came after Emhoff acknowledged in August that he had an affair during his first marriage to Kristen Emhoff. After alleged details about it were published by the Daily Mail, the outlet reported that Emhoff had an affair with a woman who was a nanny to his children and taught at their school. So let's get this straight. So Doug Emhoff, who is supposed to be the first gentleman to the United States of America, cheated on his ex-wife with the nanny, and then he got her pregnant. But she didn't go through with the pregnancy. And then now we find out from witnesses that say that Doug Emhoff slapped a woman in the face so hard that she spun around. Ladies and gentlemen, why is this not a huge story? Why is this not plastered on every single headline on CBS, MSNBC? Why is Joe and Mika not talking about this? You know damn well that if this story had the name switch to Donald Trump, this would be all over the place. But it's Doug Emhoff. It's a Democrat. So Doug and I decided to end our marriage for a variety of reasons many years ago, she said. This is the ex-wife he cheated on. Quote, he is a great father to our kids, continues to be a great friend to me, and I am really proud of the warm and supportive blend family Doug, Kamala, and I have built together. That's just weird. So Doug Emhoff cheats on his ex-wife with the nanny, gets her pregnant, divorces his wife, and then marries Kamala Harris. But before he marries Kamala Harris, he actually dates a woman and slaps her so hard she spins around. What the hell are we dealing with here, man? Democrats don't see this as an issue. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, there is more evidence to this claim than there ever was in the E. Jean Carroll case. But yet Doug Emhoff is out there waving. Nobody's talking about Doug Emhoff. Just goes to show you how corrupt our media is. So corrupt, man.